TEMU drum mics.
All right, everybody, let's not waste any time. Let's dive into the professional microphone. Not microphones, singular. And we got Denise Richards on here, the spokesperson for professional microphone. Anyways, let's dive in. I mean, right off the bat, we got a couple pamphlets. Let's see, you got a nice drummer on the front. Looks very professional, except when you get right to exquisite workmanship, feel delicate, designed for drum type, and all the rest of that. We got a little certificate of product, quality inspector number 00368, doing the Lord's work. So my initial reaction was it's very heavy, without even opening the box, and then kind of find out as I removed the little baggie, they're made of metal, which is just crazy. It seems like a little aluminum casing, very heavy. Seems pretty delicate as well. So yeah, for $100, what you get is 4 snare and tom mics, 2 pencil condensers, and a kick mic. Also included are the clamps for the snare and tom mics with the little screw-on adapters, everything you need to get going. And also the 2 clamps for the pencil condensers. Those are always very useful for a smaller mic, especially. Yeah, it's a neat little package. These are made of metal as well, which is very surprising to me. And it fits very nicely. Everything seems pretty solid so far. And, I mean, right out of the box, you're kind of ready to go. Okay, so we've got the kit mic'd up. I have glasses on now. A lot of things change around here really quickly. Basically, we ordered these mics off of TEMU, whatever you call it, about a month ago. Overall, first reaction, it looks pretty standard. I mean, they've kind of got the body of like an E604 or the E904 by Sennheiser, kind of that same profile. The clamps they kick up a bit more. So that's something to keep in consideration when, miking them and cymbals hitting and stuff. But I will say I'm kind of impressed at this point. Before hearing them, before playing on them, I mean, they look good and they're solid. They're metal, which is just crazy to me that for $100 you get 7 mics and they're mainly made of this aluminum. That sounds pretty solid. Not even the E604s are made of aluminum. They're this plastic. So yeah, I didn't really look at reviews. I typed in, drum mics on TEMU.com, and the first thing that popped up was these, and I said, okay, cool, let's get them, let's try them. The whole point of this video, is to see, well, can we really get good drum sounds out of essentially crappy mics? Is Denise Richards lookalike, is she, making good microphones for us to record? We'll find out. So let's start diving in. I'm going to just do some one-shots. I'm going to route it through all of my preamps. No EQ, no compression. I'll do that in the box later. Okay, so we just tracked some one-shots and a little loop. Like I said before, straight into the preamps and then into the DAW, which is Pro Tools. Everything's really standard. I had to flip the phase on the overheads because I noticed those were out of phase. That's the only thing I've done so far. Let's just dive in because that's the only way to get it. No gain staging, no, just straight what I recorded is what we're about to hear. So let's go. Here is snare. Tom 1. Tom 2. Tom 3. Kick. Okay, initial thoughts. Definitely lacking in definition. I think it's the overheads. I think it's the pencil condensers. I mean, they're cheap. The capsule is falling off from the actual body of the microphone, so it's just cheap. I feel like the floor tom is a little weak sauce. My usual personal preference is a kick drum mic on the floor tom, so I could be a little impartial to that. But I just feel like it was lacking some of that big boom growl that I really want on my floor tom. But let's dive into one of the loops and see what that sounds like as a whole with a kit. Here we go. It's sounds like 7 mics for $100. I think the overheads are just really killing it. I mean, I feel like the kick actually sounds half decent. Let's listen. That doesn't sound half bad. To me, it kind of sounds like a Audix D6 in a way. Just that clicky kind of, a little more lo-fi, not as high-end click as you'd want, but overall decent. Let's see what the snare top sounds like. Again, half decent. Like, that's not terrible. Not as bad as I would expect it to be. Here's all the toms. Okay, so right off the bat, the 2 rack toms, they sound pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds kind of like, in a way, what an E604 would sound like, at a live gig. The floor tom is just not it. It's for me, it's like, it's kind of like, it's just weak sauce. But yeah, the 2 rack toms, mind you, the rack toms are suspended, so they got a lot more body to them. The floor tom, it does have the floor tom legs with like suspension mount. The floor tom legs that are hollow and have a little bit more give, so it's not killing the floor tom. So I think it's just the mic not grabbing exactly what I would want from it. I wonder what the kick mic would sound like on the floor tom. That would probably be exactly what I want. Let's listen to the overheads by themselves. Yeah, they're trashy. They're just trashy, cheap pencil condensers, and it shows it and it sounds like it. It's not my favorite. I mean, I would probably throw those, somewhere else, not on my main overheads, because that's where I want to get a lot of the body of the kit. But there you have it. I mean, that's $100 in mics. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's not absolutely garbage, except for the overheads. I think that's a little terrible. But you know what? I'm going to try something. I'm going to add some processing to it, but I'm not going to dial in the processing for this take. I'm going to load in some processing from a previous session just for a social media post, not even a client or anything, and see what that does. Just sight unseen, slapping some processing on this and seeing if we can't make some magic out of these little mics. So let's do that. Okay, and there we have it. We've loaded it in. It's kind of thrown it around all over the place, but that's okay. So what I loaded in was I didn't do any processing on the kick channels individually. I just did it on a kick folder and routed the kicks to that kick folder. And then I do have a tom bus and a drum bus, and then I have a mix bus, basically with just a limiter on it to make it a little bit louder for socials. Let's see, I'm not going to use that. So the one thing I did notice is I did not have a third tom on this previous session. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to copy this over, sight unseen, and I'm going to remove that because these are actually two rack toms, and that was my rack tom signal chain. Now that should sound good. Let's see what it does and what it doesn't. Like I said, move that over, sight unseen. Have no idea what that's gonna sound like. I'm not touching anything. We're gonna go in and just play what I had, already on the other session. Keep in mind, I do not consider myself a mixing engineer at all. I do not do that professionally. I'm a drummer. I do engineer my own drums, but I do not mix professionally, only for social media and other drum sample shop videos. So keep that in mind. If you're like, oh, it doesn't sound very good because of this, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I 100% agree with you. That being said, let's dive in and see what this sounds like. Okay, same spot. Here we go. Okay, initially, something's going on with the floor tom. Let me fix that real quick. I think that gate is just wide open. Okay, now let's see what this sounds like. I mean, it's got a vibe. It definitely sounds super, trashy. I could see I could see myself using this on a specific track or a specific vibe, just for like an auxiliary sound or like a little loop or something like that. And it kind of gets that right out of the gate without having to, obviously the processing brought out a lot of that crunchiness. But yeah, it sounds like $100 in mics. That's exactly what it sounds like. Let me know what you think in the comments about that. Actually, you know what? Let's add a little bit of verb just to see if it just makes it magical. got a thing. It's got a thing. Yeah, again, you know, it just sounds a little cheap to me. But sometimes that's what you're going for. You know, you want that indie vibe, you want that indie sound. There you have it. That's it. Sounds like you kind of recorded them in a garage, and you know, you've got these somewhat okay mics on there. I could see myself, you know, probably recording with those mics, running it through the Tascam, you know, Porta Studio, and just cranking the gain and getting that ultra crunch. And that could be like an auxiliary, you know, loop underlying under the main pass, just kind of that vibe you're going for, especially with those overheads. Again, you know, this is just loaded in from something else and not really dialed or tuned to this specific session. So you could go deeper down the rabbit hole, but for now, I mean, it's just kind of like, well, there's a vibe and you got it. So let us know what you think though in the comments. Do you love them, or, you know, would you buy them? Would you buy these and put your name on it and say, yep, I confidently stand by these? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, be sure to smash that subscribe button, click like on this video, leave us a comment, tell us what you want to see next, and yeah, we'll see you around. Peace.